The silent weapons of manipulation. Stoic awareness against deceptive questions. There is a moment most people recognize too late. A conversation that seemed harmless. A question that sounded gentle. A smile that felt almost reassuring. And yet, the instant you answered, something shifted. You felt smaller, more uncertain. As if the ground beneath you quietly disappeared. This is not coincidence. This is manipulation. Liars rarely attack with statements. Statements can be challenged. Instead, they use questions, subtle, emotional, disarming. Designed not to seek truth, but to bend your perception. The Stoics understood this long before psychology gave it a name. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they warned us. The greatest danger is not being lied to, but being led to doubt your own reason. In this series, we expose 5 questions liars use to control you. Not to make you paranoid, but to make you unshakable. In Part 1, we will break down the first 2 questions, the foundation of emotional manipulation. Question 1. Why are you being so sensitive? At first glance, it sounds almost caring, concerned, reasonable, even gentle. But make no mistake, this question is not curiosity. It is an accusation disguised as empathy. What it really says is, your perception is flawed. Your feelings are unreliable. The problem isn't my behavior, it's your reaction. This question is the opening shot of gaslighting. Why this question is so dangerous? Because it shifts the focus away from the action and places it entirely on your emotional response. You point out inconsistency, you're too sensitive. You notice disrespect, you're overreacting. You question ethics, why are you making this such a big deal? And slowly, without realizing it, you stop trusting yourself. Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Manipulators weaponize this truth. They plant doubt, then let your own mind finish the job. But here is what Stoicism makes clear. Sensitivity is not weakness. It is awareness. The most dangerous people are not the loud ones. They are the observant ones. The employee who notices small irregularities before a scandal breaks. The partner who senses emotional distance before betrayal surfaces. The friend who feels something off long before truth emerges. History repeatedly proves this. Early warnings are always dismissed as sensitivity. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "If someone can show me I am wrong, I will gladly change." Notice what he did not say. He did not shame perception. He did not fear awareness. Only those hiding something feel threatened by your sensitivity. The Stoic response. The Stoic does not defend emotionally. Defense signals weakness. Instead, he responds with clarity. When someone asks, "Why are you being so sensitive?" a Stoic calmly replies, "I'm not being sensitive, I'm being observant." Nothing more. No anger, no explanation. That single sentence shifts the burden back where it belongs. Truth does not fear observation. Deception does. Question 2. You trust me, right? This question sounds intimate, almost tender. But beneath it lies one of the most dangerous traps in manipulation. Because this is not a request for trust, it is a demand for blind loyalty.
Why this question is a trap? Trust is built through consistency. It is never requested under pressure. When someone asks, "You trust me, right?" what they are really saying is, "Stop questioning, stop observing, hand me control of your judgment." Epictetus warned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Liars understand this deeply. They ask for trust precisely when scrutiny is rising. Real-world examples. A business partner avoiding transparency. "Come on, you trust me, right?" A lover hiding their phone. "Why are you acting suspicious? You trust me, don't you?" Notice the pattern. Trust is demanded when evidence is missing. That is not trust. That is coercion. Stoic wisdom on trust. The Stoics never believed trust was automatic. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by betrayal. He knew this truth well. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. A Stoic does not accuse, but he does not surrender reason either. The Stoic countermove. When confronted with, "You trust me, right?" the Stoic pauses. He breathes, and he answers, "Trust is built through actions, not requests." Or, if the situation demands firmness, "I trust consistency, not pressure." This response does something powerful. It removes emotion from the exchange. It exposes manipulation without accusation. A liar will grow uncomfortable. An honest person will not. Because integrity never fears time, transparency, or consistency. The Stoic principle behind these questions. Both questions, "Why are you so sensitive?" and "You trust me, right?" serve one purpose: to disconnect you from your own judgment. Stoicism exists to prevent exactly this. Epictetus taught, "Some things are in our control, others are not." Your emotions may arise automatically, but your judgment, that belongs to you. When you surrender judgment, you surrender freedom. The Stoic does not rush, he does not react, he observes. And observation is the enemy of manipulation. Closing reflection, Part 1. Manipulators do not overpower you, they confuse you. They make you doubt your instincts. They make you apologize for awareness. They make trust feel like obligation. But the Stoic sees clearly. He knows sensitivity is perception. Trust must be earned. Calm is power. And above all, truth does not need pressure to survive.
The subtle battlefield. How liars shift power without you noticing. In Part 1, we exposed the first layer of manipulation, how liars twist your emotions, shame your awareness, and demand trust they have not earned. But the most dangerous manipulators do not rely on aggression alone. They rely on confusion, on role reversal, on making you feel like the problem while they quietly escape accountability. Stoicism exists precisely for this battlefield. Not the battlefield of fists or words, but the battlefield of perception. Because once perception is controlled, freedom is lost. Question 3, revisited. Are you accusing me of something? The art of frame reversal. This question is not defensive. It is strategic. The moment you hear it, notice what happens internally. Your spine tightens. Your tone softens. Your words become careful. Suddenly, you are no longer seeking truth. You are seeking approval. That is the trap. You raised a concern. You noticed inconsistency. You asked a question. And with one sentence, the manipulator flips the roles. They become the victim. You become the aggressor. Truth becomes irrelevant. Marcus Aurelius warned against this exact moment. If someone does wrong, the harm is to himself. Yet manipulators cannot tolerate this truth, so they move the spotlight away from their behavior and place it on your intentions. Why are you questioning me? Why are you attacking? Why are you accusing? A Stoic understands something critical here. Truth does not need to accuse, it only needs to observe. When someone panics at observation, they reveal fear, not innocence. The Stoic response. A Stoic does not rush to reassure. A Stoic does not apologize for noticing. He pauses. He lets silence apply pressure. Then, calmly, should I be? No anger, no justification, no emotional spike, just clarity. Because liars expect chaos, they never expect composure. Question 4. Would I ever lie to you? Emotional theater disguised as innocence. This question is not logic, it is performance. The wounded look, the soft voice, the implied betrayal. How could you even think that of me? But a Stoic asks a sharper question. Why does someone need to declare their honesty unless they feel it slipping? Seneca wrote, "A good character is not proclaimed, it is proven." Truth does not beg to be believed. Truth stands still and lets time speak. When someone asks, "Would I ever lie to you?" they are not seeking reassurance, they are seeking control through guilt. If they can make you feel cruel for doubting, you will stop questioning. And once questioning stops, manipulation thrives. The Stoic countermove. A Stoic does not defend his doubt, he reframes the situation. After a pause, he responds, "That's not the question. The question is whether I would know if you did." This single sentence does 3 things. It removes emotion from the exchange, it exposes the weakness of blind trust, and it recenters power on awareness, not promises. Liars fear light. They depend on fog. Stoicism turns on the light. Question 5. Can't we just move on? When exhaustion becomes a weapon. This is the final move. When denial fails, when deflection fails, when emotional manipulation fails, they attack your energy. Why keep digging? Why live in the past? Why can't you let this go? On the surface, it sounds mature, peaceful, even wise, but Stoics know better. Marcus Aurelius never said, "Ignore truth for comfort." He said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not accept it." Moving on without clarity is not peace, it is avoidance, and avoidance always returns stronger. Liars rely on one thing above all else, that you will grow tired before they are exposed. The Stoic response. Not rage, not endless debate, just grounded resolve. I'll move on once I understand what happened. This sentence is calm, but it is immovable. It communicates one truth. Your peace is built on clarity, not convenience, and that is something manipulators cannot defeat. The Stoic advantage, why manipulation fails against the calm mind. Manipulators rely on 3 weaknesses: emotional reactivity, fear of conflict, desire for approval. Stoicism dissolves all 3. Epictetus taught, "If you wish to be invincible, make no treaty with anything outside your control." A liar wants your reaction, your guilt, your urgency. The Stoic offers none. He observes without panic. He responds without haste. He refuses to be rushed into confusion. This is not coldness. This is discipline. The inner shift from target to observer. The moment you stop reacting, something changes. The liar becomes exposed, not because you attack, but because you don't. Silence becomes uncomfortable for them. Questions become dangerous for them. Time becomes an enemy for them.
and suddenly you are no longer the one being tested. They are. Closing reflection, the Stoic rule of clarity. Remember this. You are not cruel for questioning. You are not weak for noticing. You are not difficult for wanting truth. You are awake, and the awake cannot be controlled. Stoicism does not make you aggressive. It makes you unmovable, calm, clear, unshakable.
The Stoic endgame, becoming impossible to manipulate. By now, you understand something most people never grasp. Manipulation does not succeed because liars are clever. It succeeds because people are emotionally reactive, approval-hungry, and afraid of discomfort. The Stoic does not fight manipulators directly. He outgrows the battlefield entirely. This final part is not about spotting tricks. It is about becoming the kind of mind tricks no longer work on. 11. The final shield. Emotional detachment without coldness. Many people misunderstand Stoicism. They think it means becoming cold, distant, uncaring. That is weakness disguised as philosophy. True Stoic detachment is not emotional numbness. It is emotional sovereignty. You still feel, you still care, but your emotions no longer own you. Manipulators depend on emotional ownership. They need you to feel responsible for their feelings, guilty for asking questions, afraid of conflict, anxious about being misunderstood. Once emotions rule you, your reasoning collapses. Epictetus warned, if you want to be invincible, make no treaty with your emotions that puts your reason in chains. Detachment means this. You can feel discomfort without rushing to fix it. You can feel tension without surrendering truth. You can feel accused without needing to defend your identity. This is why manipulators hate calm people. Calm minds don't leak information. They don't over-explain. They don't scramble. They observe. And observation dismantles deception. 12. Why silence is often the deadliest response. Most people believe power comes from talking. Stoics knew better. Power comes from restraint. Silence creates a vacuum, and manipulators cannot stand vacuums. They fill silence with over-explaining, contradictions, emotional outbursts, defensive behavior. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. As emperor, surrounded by flatterers and deceivers, he learned one rule: say less if necessary. When you speak less, your words carry weight, your reactions slow, your opponent reveals more. Silence is not avoidance, it is strategic patience. If someone pressures you for an answer, silence tests them. If someone rushes resolution, silence exposes fear. If someone demands reassurance, silence restores balance. The Stoic understands this deeply. The person who can sit calmly without speaking controls the room. 13. The Stoic rule of timing. Never respond at their pace. Manipulators control conversations by controlling tempo. They rush, they pressure, they escalate. Why? Because speed bypasses reason. A rushed mind is an obedient mind. The Stoic refuses this trap. He slows everything down. He does not answer immediately. He does not explain impulsively. He does not resolve before clarity. Seneca advised, nothing is more powerful than a mind that refuses to hurry. Time exposes lies. Truth does not decay with delay. Deception does. When someone says, answer me now, why are you avoiding? Just decide already. They are not seeking clarity. They are seeking control. The Stoic calmly responds internally. I move at the speed of truth, not pressure. This alone breaks most manipulative tactics. 14. The ultimate Stoic question. What is being asked of me? Every manipulative exchange hides a silent demand. Not the words, the expectation.
Ask yourself, are they asking me to abandon my judgment? Are they asking me to carry their emotions? Are they asking me to betray my values? Are they asking me to ignore evidence? Once you see the demand, the spell breaks. Epictetus taught that freedom begins with one awareness. Know what is yours to carry and what is not. You are responsible for your words, your actions, your integrity. You are not responsible for their discomfort, their insecurity, their reaction to truth, their disappointment. When you stop carrying what isn't yours, manipulation collapses. 15. The Stoic identity shift from defender to observer. Manipulators succeed when you defend your character. Why? Because defense implies doubt. The Stoic does not defend who he is. He knows who he is. And knowledge does not argue. If accused unfairly, he does not rush to clear his name. If misunderstood, he does not beg for correction. If challenged emotionally, he does not perform innocence. He observes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The opinion of others is outside your control. Let it go." The moment you stop defending your identity, manipulators lose leverage. They need you emotionally invested in their perception of you. Detach from that, and the game ends. 16. The silent power of consistency. Liars rely on confusion. Stoics rely on consistency. They say the same thing. They act the same way. They don't shift stories. They don't over-adjust. Consistency builds an invisible wall. Manipulators can argue with words, but they cannot penetrate steady behavior. When you are consistent, you don't need to convince. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove. Your presence becomes proof. This is why Stoics focus on character, not persuasion. 17. When walking away is the final victory. Not every manipulation deserves a response. Some deserve distance. Stoicism is not about enduring abuse. It is about choosing where your energy belongs. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to." Walking away is not weakness, it is discernment. The Stoic leaves when truth is punished, boundaries are mocked, manipulation is persistent, respect is absent. Peace is not negotiated with those who profit from chaos. 18. Final integration, the Stoic state of mind. At this stage, something changes. You no longer fear being manipulated. You no longer obsess over others' intentions. You no longer overthink every interaction. Why? Because your inner posture has shifted. You are calm. You are observant. You are grounded. Manipulators sense this immediately. They feel no emotional access, no urgency, no leverage, and they retreat. Not because you fought, but because there was nothing to grab onto. Final Stoic reminder. You do not need sharper words. You need a steadier mind. You do not need to expose liars. They expose themselves in the presence of clarity. You do not need to control others. You need to master yourself. That is Stoic power. Quiet, unshakable, free.